The final of the first season of Hazbin Hotel has been released, and so, for 7 years, Lilith disappeared in heaven. 7 years ago, she made a deal with Adam, and it's likely that the exterminations began exactly 7 years ago. After all, initially, it was his idea, and the girl, apparently, agreed not to resist the purges in exchange for relaxation in Eden. At the same time, judging by Charlie's story, Lilith was the true ruler of hell, developing her realm and increasing its power, while Lucifer languished in depression and settled in his office. She urged demons to resist and most likely was preparing a rebellion against heaven. So why did she easily abandon everything and go to heaven? Some think she has evil motives, some believe she's being controlled, but in my opinion, the answer is much simpler. That was her ultimate goal, raising hell, building an army, rebellion, all to return to Eden, from which they were banished long ago. Once Lucifer and Lilith deeply loved each other. Considering that they lived in marriage for almost 10,000 years, it's obvious that they had similar interests and views on life all these years. If Lucifer saw nothing good in sinners, most likely Lilith felt the same way about them. Her husband just decided to ignore them and not have any contact with them. And his wife tried to achieve some order and stability, directing that rabble in her favor. I'm sure she never really cared about sinners. That's why Adam compares Charlie's desire to help her people with Lucifer, who spent so many years developing hell, not Lilith. After all, he, like Charlie, once believed in the best in them. But now Lucifer openly regrets his actions and would like to undo everything. And most likely Lilith wished the same, but unlike her husband, she tirelessly sought to achieve it. And ultimately, this difference between them led to their separation. Lucifer's passivity and depression created too large a gap between them. It seems they divorced when Charlie was still little, around 200 years ago, if her previously stated age is still canonical. However, we can see that Lucifer still loves Lilith and even wears the engagement ring on his finger. Therefore, when Adam offered Lilith to leave hell in exchange for annual exterminations, Lucifer agreed to it, wanting to fulfill the desire of his ex-wife. It was he who allowed these exterminations. They somehow came to the assembly, and the order was given, "Go ahead, kill them all." Moreover, there was an agreement not to touch the native demons, only destroying the sinners. So Lilith wouldn't have to worry about her friends or Charlie. After all, she loves her daughter. They always had warm relations. I don't think Lilith had any evil motives towards her. Charlie is already an adult and independent, not in danger. Therefore, Lilith, without any worries, can peacefully enjoy heaven. If Lucifer personally approved of the annual extermination and wasn't overly concerned about Lilith's absence, obviously, for these 7 years, he knew the reason for her absence, but didn't want to upset Charlie, who admired her mother. But in the second season, the truth will be revealed because now Lilith needs to convince Charlie to agree to purges if she wants to continue living in heaven. A place where there are only joys, where all your dreams come true. Charlie's plan worked. Sirtius managed to redeem himself. He made it to heaven. And when the princess learns about it, no persuasions from her mother will stop her determination. Moreover, Charlie now has the support of Lucifer, who has settled in the Hazbin Hotel with her, judging by the tower with an apple. Sirtius never seemed particularly bad to me. He swore relatively little, avoided any prohibited substances, and was even embarrassed at the slightest mention of sex. But at the same time, he loved battles and wars, which was his main sin. Before the release of the first season, I thought he was forced to do it, that in hell, fighting was simply necessary for survival and increasing influence. So, everything here is arranged in such a way that you can't trust anyone and are ready for any trick for a better life. But in the finale of the first season, he suddenly puts on a uniform and hat, similar to Napoleon's, as if he were him in his past life. However, Vivzipop had long stated that she did not want to connect the animated series with real personalities to avoid negative associations and romanticization of real killers. Imagine if Napoleon were really in heaven. Moreover, according to official artwork since the pilot, Sirtius died back in 1888, which means his outfit only indicates that he's from the Victorian era and possibly was an inventor in the French army, ending up in hell for his involvement in wars. If that's the case, Is half a year of friendship and self-sacrifice for friends enough to redeem all his past sins? Does it really override all the havoc he caused in his lifetime and the hundreds of years of wars he initiated in hell? Is simply giving up on mischief for a few months, learning to be friends, enough? And can you still kill angels if you do it for self-defense and the protection of yourself and your friends? So what is the meaning? As we've learned, demons and angels have no influence on whether someone goes to heaven or hell. There's a certain line between good and evil, and if you're pure at heart and your feelings are noble, you head to heaven. If you knowingly do evil, disregarding the feelings of others, you go to hell. However, in both places, people change over hundreds of years, and if, even in such a terrible place, you manage to become better after another death, you can reach heaven. In that case, the changed angels after death could very well end up in hell. Adam is a malicious jerk who mistreats women, curses, and ruthlessly destroys human souls. A one-dimensional character with not a single positive trait, a stereotypical villain embodying the worst qualities. However, considering that angels don't influence the distribution of souls, Adam, as we see him now, couldn't have ended up in heaven. Obviously, 10,000 years ago, he was completely different, and over the centuries, his character and behavior have deteriorated significantly. Since his past hasn't been revealed yet, it's likely that in the second season, Adam, always seeing the world in black and white, will undergo a transformation in hell, hinted at by his last words before death. An evident manifestation of pride, a sin that, ironically, was accused of Lucifer in the original sources. Adam will have to experience the side he hated all these years and never attempted to understand. If he wants to return to heaven, he'll have to undergo therapy, nowhere else but at Charlie's Hazbin Hotel, even though he will likely resist it at first. And thus, a character whom all viewers hated will reveal an entirely new side. Most likely, the same fate awaits all the deceased exterminators who ruthlessly annihilated sinners. Because what else could happen to angels after death at the end of the battle on the ruins of the hotel? Here and there, you can notice such eyes, even in Alastor's booth where they were not there before. This way, according to Vivzipop's words, demons who died from angelic weapons manifest as living parts of hellish structures. That's why such eyes can be noticed everywhere. For 7 years, angels killed thousands of demons, and no one knew how to escape from them. Only in the final of the first season did the main characters discover that exterminators could be defeated with their own weapons, and they successfully defended themselves. However, Alastor, in the battle with Adam, for some reason, did not use angelic spears. Moreover, his barrier could keep the exterminators outside, which surprised even Adam and Lucifer. And Charlie was no less shocked. Do you understand the point? Demons' abilities do not affect heavenly beings, so they were invulnerable until now. Lucifer fought Adam with his angelic powers, and Charlie, being a descendant of an angel, had her magic work as well. And since Alastor was also able to restrain the exterminators, causing problems for Adam himself, it means the origin of his powers is not demonic at all. Something beyond hell helps him. It's definitely not Lilith, as she cannot freely travel to hell and back to heaven. Like a sinner before redemption, she has no way to heaven. She has no opportunity to contact Adam in any way. Otherwise, she would not have ignored Charlie, and the princess and Lucifer would immediately recognize the abilities of their mother and wife if she were helping him. For 7 years, Lilith couldn't care less about purges. There would be no point in sending Alastor to protect her daughter after 7 years, especially since, according to the agreement, the exterminators should not touch native demons. And with Adam, Alastor wouldn't have a reason to fight, given that Lilith had a contract with her ex-husband, and now she has to leave Eden. Moreover, Lilith at the end of the episode was clearly unaware of what had happened in hell. It's unlikely that Alastor serves Rue, as Husk knows who Alastor is connected to. If Alastor served evil itself, he would certainly have warned Charlie about the danger, even at the risk of his own life. And Alastor himself cares about Charlie, and helps her in everything, not wishing her harm. He explains his special abilities as follows. You must know better than anyone what the soul can achieve when it takes fate into its own hands. This suggests that he was so powerful from the very first day in hell, solely through his own efforts. From Vivian's streams, it's known that in his past life, Alastor was a serial killer with dozens of victims. As you know from my previous videos, Alastor uses magic and voodoo, confirmed by the symbols of the lowest spirits in the background, living shadows, puppet dolls, and references to Dr. Facilier. Voodoo gods demand blood in exchange for services. I think in his past life, Alastor killed people, offering them as sacrifices to the lowest spirits in exchange for the power granted to him. This allowed him to quickly rise in hell. The lowest spirits are not demons. Within their religion, they are considered deities of a different kind. Hence, their barrier can hold back exterminators, and their tendrils can inflict damage on higher angels. Moreover, when Alastor lost, it was his shadow that helped him escape, grabbing his hand and dragging him away. The lowest spirits healed the wound on his chest inflicted by Adam, as at the end of the episode, the hole in his chest is no longer present. Although Radio Demon was alone in the booth only with his shadow. When Alastor made a deal with Charlie and sang a song to Vox, you can notice green seams on his shoulder and back, and another wound magically stitched up, for example, 7 years ago. Finally, Alastor utters the phrase, "unclip," very clearly. It's a consistent expression that sounds like, "spread my wings." Unclip is an entirely different word. Alastor is singing about wanting to cut off his wings, clearly implying those same tendrils that extend from his back, precisely where wings usually grow. As long as they are there, he remains tethered to the lowest spirits. However, they granted him such power, and he has been so strong because of them. They have saved him numerous times. Why does he want to get rid of them? Demons who died at the hands of angels transform into such eyes on buildings. Demons who die at the hands of other demons simply resurrect in hell, albeit without their powers. However, the demons killed by Alastor disappeared forever. According to Mimsy, they emitted their final screams on his radio broadcast, and no one saw them again. As I mentioned earlier, voodoo gods thirst for blood, and in exchange for the power given to him, Alastor is obliged to perpetually feed his hosts. Otherwise, they will devour him, as hinted by the final phrase of his song. It's not him pulling the strings, it's the shadow itself. When Adam injured Alastor, the shadow was incredibly pleased, eagerly anticipating the upcoming feast of familiar souls known to the Radio Demon. The more significant the service, the higher the price. While Alastor was a killer in his past life, causing a stir in hell, enjoying attention, and instilling fear, he's simply tired of being tethered. He's tired of the eternal soul collection, tired of killing. Rosie has a whole colony of cannibals, Vox has thousands of brainwashed demons, Valentino has contracts with all his prostitutes. Meanwhile, Alastor has only 2 souls on his leash, ones that he actually likes and doesn't want to sacrifice. He didn't demand Vega's soul, didn't demand Charlie's, despite the excellent opportunity. Alastor is not as evil and cruel as he may seem, quite a pleasant company. I admit, you can get used to this. He fought against Adam, risking his own life solely for his newfound friends, which even surprised him greatly. His devious schemes were just a way to break free from his shackles. The murders were committed under the threat of voodoo spirits, with whom he had contracted even in life, thirsting for magical powers. And that smile, which remains on his face even in moments of human suffering, incredible sorrow, apathy, even when alone with himself, is there thanks to the same magical stitches, as if the voodoo spirits compel him to always smile, reminding him that he's on a leash. Alastor is as much a sinner as everyone else. Although he didn't consciously believe in Charlie's scheme, he secretly wished for her success, and therefore helped her. He saw redemption as a chance to break free, and even without realizing it, he began to gradually change for the better, acting for the good of his friends. The second season of Hazbin Hotel is already on the horizon. The voiceover process is currently underway, which means that only animation post-production lies ahead. We'll have to wait somewhere between 9 months to a year and a half, and to not miss it, be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video because there's still a lot more Hazbin Hotel content awaiting you. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.